This is where you start calling in to get your answers or getting answers to your immigration question.
I have a problem. I'm being a green card holder for 6 years. Last November, something happened. I'm working in a gas station as a cashier. So the TABC, they send the girl. They set me up, with the.
What's the THBC? What is THBC?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. What's THBC?
No. That's the Texas Agriculture Beverage Commissioner.
The Texas what commissioner?
Agriculture Beverage Commissioner.
Okay, so some state agency did what to you?
They send the girl.
To buy cigarettes underage?
Yeah. There was.
All right. So you were arrested for selling cigarettes to an underage girl.
Not the cigarette. There was the beer. One beer, 16 ounce.
Okay. To selling alcohol to a minor.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a green card?
Yeah. I don't get arrested. They give me ticket.
So what's your question?
So before this happened is last November, but I was gonna apply my citizenship. But I my scan now. I never had no problem, but this happened, So
well, it depends what ends up with your case. Just because you get a ticket doesn't necessarily mean it's not a criminal situation. It certainly doesn't mean that it would not affect your good moral character. I don't know. It definitely is going to affect your citizenship. I have no idea if what you did is a deportable offense, if you're found guilty of it. I am not an expert in Texas penal law when it comes to people selling alcohol to a minor, but it's certainly a criminal offense, even though you just got a ticket. So I think.
They dismissed the case.
If it was,
then I expunge it. Expunge the case and everything clean now.
1 second. In Texas, what they do, they have post-conviction relief. So what they do is they have you plead guilty. This is what happens in Texas, and people get screwed up all the time. You plead guilty, the judge says do your probation, and at the end of the probation, if everything is okay, we're going to expunge the case. I've even seen it happen with people with drug offenses that did 10 years probation, and then it was expunged 10 years later. It's still a deportable conviction. It's a definition of a conviction under the Immigration and Nationality Act because you plead guilty to something and you have a punishment and then it's retroactively expunged. It's still a conviction for immigration purposes versus how they do it in New York, just as an example, is they do it as what's called an ACD, an adjourned in contemplation of dismissal, where a judge says, we're going to basically adjourn this case for 6 months. You are not going to plead guilty to anything. Maybe you'll do some sort of class. Maybe you'll do this. Maybe you'll do that. You're not going to plead guilty to anything, but I want you to do X, Y, Z. And then if you do it, I'm going to dismiss the case. Well, you never pled guilty. There's a difference. So I know what they do in Texas. They screw people who are immigrants all the time. So what I would suggest that you do before you file your citizenship, because as soon as I heard you say, yes, I did something and then they expunged it, I already know in my head you have a conviction for immigration. Whether it's deportable or not, I don't know. You need a consultation. Hold on.
I've got an interview for tomorrow in the morning. It's my I-551 for my passport stamp to travel out to the country. My question is, what type of document you think I can take with me?
You have an I-551 stamp in your passport already, so you can travel with that.
No, I'm not getting it. I got to do it. I'm going tomorrow for the interview.
For what?
For the I-551 stamp.
Do you have a green card already and you've lost it? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so just bring your passport.
Okay, next question. Do you think that the officer going to ask me difficult questions?
No, he's going to ask you, where's your passport, prove you are who you are, and put a stamp in it.
When I lost my green card, I had my social security, my ID, I had all my documents in my wallet. If you think somebody find my wallet, do you think they going to mess me up?
What do I know? I mean, What are they going to do? They're going to pretend they're you.
Probably,
I mean, there's always people who have identity theft all the time, but I don't think they can go traveling as you. Unless they look just by happenstance, the guy who found your wallet looks exactly like you. So they can't really use your ID and say, this is me. What they can do is if they find your green card and your driver's license and your social security number, I guess there's ways, cyber crimes that can go on and they can get credit cards in your name and things of that and screw up your credit report. So I would suggest you go online and just run a credit report and make sure that nobody's screwing with applying for things in your name. That would be I would be more concerned about.
Yes, I just have one question. Once I got the green, can leave the country right away, or do I have to?
If you have a stamp in your passport that says you're approved, then you can leave. If you got some sort of approval letter but don't have a green card and you want to travel, like Martin, the call before, go down to immigration, go for an I-551 stamp and get a stamp on your passport. But they don't question you. They just
I got the green card. Like I got it in a couple of days.
Yeah, great. So go travel. The day you have your green card, go. Bon voyage.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Calling on behalf of a friend, right? Yeah, she did her first interview in November of last year.
Right.
And they told her that she should wait for a letter in the mail. And then she got one March of this year for a second interview. And she did a second interview, but she hasn't heard anything since.
The reason she got a second interview was because on the first interview, they didn't believe it was a real marriage. And the reason she hasn't heard anything from the second interview is because they most likely still don't believe it's a real marriage. Because when you go on the second interview, the longer it takes to get an approval, the less likely it is that you will be approved. Why? Because it's very easy to press a button that says you're approved. You don't have to give any reasons why you're approved. You can just press a button, you're approved, and print out the letter. If you're going to be denied, by law they have to give the reasons why, which means somebody has to sit down and write out the reasons why in a formal decision denying your case. And it takes a lot longer for somebody to sit down and write out the decision than it is to press a button on a form letter that says you're approved. I'm not saying you're going to be denied. Maybe they're doing an investigation and they find it's a good marriage. Maybe it's just your fingerprints didn't clear. They're waiting for that, and then they'll press the button and say you're approved. I don't know. And by the way, I'm being very, I guess, liberal with the facts. There's no button I think that's pressed that's approved. I'm just giving you, general, idea. Sam, how are you?
Yeah, I have one question today. That's it. So my question is, my wife, she's on U-Care. Is it going to be a red flag for me during the consular processing?
What is it called?
My wife, she's on the U-Care, like Medicare or U-Care.
Yes, because any state assistance now is a negative when you're consular processing.
Oh, if I get my own medical insurance.
That would be a positive. So the fact that she is on some sort of state assistance doesn't mean you definitely don't get it. It's a negative, and then you would need to show something more positive. The way that they work at the embassy is different than they work for adjustment at this moment. The way they work for adjustments are you show 3 years tax returns, you're 125% above the poverty level, you get a green card. What they do at their embassies is it's Donald Trump's new policy. There's a court order not allowing it in for adjustments, but at embassies, they have a list of positive factors and a list of negative factors, and your list of positive factors has to outweigh the list of negative factors. A negative factor is that your wife is on some sort of state government assistance. A positive factor is that you have your own medical insurance. Maybe they weigh each other out. You got to look at the entire case.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I'm from Jamaica.
Yes.
And I went to the U.S., not the U.S., I went to the embassy with my son from April.
You went to the U.S. Embassy in Kingston with your son?
Yeah, the U.S. Embassy in Kingston.
With your son. How old is your son?
Yeah, 22.
Okay. And you filed for him before he was 21, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. And when you filed for him before 21, you were a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened at the embassy? Why is he not here in America?
I don't know. They took his passport from April. They sent back, said they need some more information.
What was the information that they wanted?
They need, they call it the amount of money we make for the end of the year.
It's called the tax
combined.
return.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I sent it to them.
Right.
And from then, I haven't heard back anything.
When did you send it to them? When did you send back the tax
in
return?
May.
In May.
In May.
All right, so it's 120 days from May. You should have heard something. They're now violating your son's rights. They have to either give him a green card or give him a reason why they're denied. So if you still haven't heard anything, you have three choices. You could sit on your hands and do nothing. You could have, you can go fly back to Jamaica and you're a U.S. citizen and walk into the embassy and say, what's going on? I want my son to come here. Why doesn't he come here? Because you're a U.S. citizen. You're allowed to walk into the embassy and talk to somebody. Or three, you can hire somebody to go do that on your behalf, such as a law firm called Bernstein.
Okay,
Those are your three choices.
So with your law firm, you would be able to do that.
Yeah, we don't walk in, but we'll call the embassy and see what's going on. Absolutely. So hold on one second, all right?
Okay.
But I don't know what the answer is, but we'll figure it out.
Hello?
Hi, Simone. How are you?
Hi, Brad.
What's going on?
Good night.
Good.
I have an interview on Monday gone, and everything we had sort of putting them right, me and my husband. And when I was coming in here, when I get the visa in Jamaica, they said I put on the form that I live with my spouse, right?
But there was no spouse? Did you have a spouse in Jamaica?
No, I didn't have a boyfriend at the time when I get my visa.
So this is the deal, Simone. Okay, you and lots of people from lots of countries, when you go to travel agencies and you go for a travel agency or a consultant in another country and you say, get me a visa, a lot of times you have no idea what they're putting on that application. Now, let me finish. One of the ways to show that to get a visitor's visa, or a more likely way to get a visitor's visa, is to show you're married in Jamaica. Why? Because you have to show you have a reason to leave the United States after you come for a short period of time. So people who are married are less likely to leave their spouses and be separated for long periods of time than people who are single. So when you walk into the embassy, the odds of getting a visa go up if you're married versus if you're single. So a lot of times these agencies get paid to get you visas, and they lie and make stuff up that you may or may not be aware of. Maybe you did know, maybe you didn't know. You don't have to say anything at the moment. I'm just telling you, I know how it works. So you go to the embassy, you claim you're married, they doctor up some documents, you get your visa because they believe you're married and you're going to return home, but in fact you're single, and guess what? They're right, you didn't return home. You stayed in America and you got married, believing that you've never been married before in your life. And you go to the embassy and you go adjust your status and you go with this man that you love and it's a good, bona fide, loving marriage, and you show up to the interview and they have your records from when you applied for your visa 10, 20, 30 years ago, whatever it is. These records don't disappear. And they say, wait a second, you said you were married when you got your visa. So either you lied at the embassy or you're lying now and you're a bigamist. One or the other, you're lying somewhere, and you say, well, I didn't lie. I hired somebody else to do this. Too bad. You signed the papers. You're responsible for everything on that form. It's now misrepresentation. So what do you do in these situations? Because these situations happen. You now have to go to Jamaica, get a letter from the National Record Center that they've done a search throughout all, 14 parishes, I believe, in Jamaica. I could be wrong. It's 13 colonies, 14 parishes, I believe. 13 colonies in the United States, 14 parishes in Jamaica. Somebody from Jamaica, please confirm this. It's somebody from the Revolutionary War.
I was waiting for some.
Right, and somebody from the Revolutionary War, please confirm 13 colonies.
It is 14 parishes.
14 parishes, but we need someone.
1866.
We need somebody from the Revolutionary War to confirm 13 colonies.
Yeah,
so I think they're all
Don
dead.
Harriet says 14.
Okay, fine. So it got from all 14 parishes that that there is no marriage for Simone to XYZ. In fact, there's no marriage to Simone anywhere. Now you go back to the embassy, you go back to your interview and say, okay, I'm in a legal marriage. I'm not a bigamist, but apparently there was a misrepresentation in Jamaica, and you now have to file a waiver. Even though you may believe you didn't do anything wrong, it was somebody else, you're still the ultimate responsible party. So you need a waiver.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
Brad.
Hold on. That's what happened. See, she didn't even have to tell me.
You already knew.
I already knew. Uncle Brad.
14 parishes in Jamaica. 14.
Everybody says 14.
There it
so
is,
I was
man.
right.
Thank you for coming out.
Right. I was correct.
Good job.
Thank you. Let's go to Tony.
Snapple fact. Jamaican Snapple fact of the day.
Yes.
Is Snapple sponsoring us, or we just gave him a freebie?
Dag, we
Tony. Tony in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Tony.
In Connecticut.
Tony in Connecticut. Let's try one more time. Tony, there you go. Tony, what's going on?
Yeah, it's 14 parishes is in Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Tony. The 15th person to confirm this. We now know for a fact.
I like that.
Right.
We now know it is a fact.
Yes.
A Snapple fact of the day. Tony, what can we...
for Christopher Columbus. Thank God for Christopher Columbus.
What? What did he say? Say again?
Thank God for Christopher Columbus.
Oh,
That's right. That's
right.
All right. So what can we do to help you today?
Yeah, I have a friend. He filed for his stepdaughter,
Yes.
and they approved the I-130 and the I-797. The letter that they sent, but the notice
Right.
they said that
The I-797 is the approval letter. Okay.
Right. So they say the petitioner, the petitioner indicate that the beneficiary is in the United States, but the petitioner and the beneficiary is in Jamaica.
Okay. So then what happens is they never transferred the case to the National Visa Center. So what you have to do is a I-824, which is an application to transfer the case from immigration. You got to pay another filing fee. Pain in the ass. You got to wait months now. Pain in the ass. Maybe it's the person who petitions' fault. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Because sometimes they wrote that the person's here. Maybe immigration screwed up. It doesn't matter. Your case is sitting at a local immigration office. It's got to get transferred to the National Visa Center. So you got to do an I-824, pay another filing fee, and wait, unfortunately.
So is the beneficiary have to do that?
No, the petitioner.
Petitioner?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So hang in there. Hold on if you need help. Let's go to Sandwick in Patterson, New Jersey. Sandwick.
Yes, hello.
How are you?
Yes, I'm okay. I just got a few questions to ask. I've been in the United States since 2007, and I recently filed for my citizenship in May, the 1st of May, and I got 3 arrests, and I'm about to go in for my interview. I haven't got a date yet, but
when did you get your green card?
I got my green card in 2000 and the ending part of 2007. I came here in 2007 and I got it in the ending part because I come here in
What were your three?
January.
What were your 3 arrests?
One was I got 3 arrests. One was for petty theft. One was for dating violence, and one was
Dating
for
violence?
Yeah, that's what's under disposition.
What state is dating violence?
I have no idea.
What state do you live in?
This was in Florida,
Florida?
no, I'm living in Jersey.
Okay.
Yes.
And the third one was what?
The third one was for tampering with evidence.
Temporary for tampering?
Tampering with evidence.
Tampering with evidence.
Yes.
Okay. And were you guilty on any of these offenses?
Come again? I didn't
Did
hear
you plead guilty on any of these offenses? Were you found guilty on any of these offenses?
Actually, I watch your show mostly every day, and this is the question that a lot of people you answer these questions for. I don't know if I plead guilty or not. Them charges, they was just dismissed. I never see the judge or anything. I show up for the court date.
So then, when are you going for your citizenship interview?
I don't have a date. They're just saying that.
Then I'm going to call timeout on you right now. If you watch my show every day, and I know you do, and I'm sure you're a smart man, okay, you never file with immigration and have no idea what happened on your criminal cases, because you're just like, you know what? You're like, you know what? I'm going to jump off this cliff. I hope it's not too far down. You have no idea. Okay? This is my thing with you. Time out for you. Come in to see us. You're in Patterson. I'm across the river. Let's get your dispositions and let's see what happened. Because it's one of then great. Then you're going to bring them in. Then you're going to bring them in to me, because it's going to be one of three. One is you're a deportable alien and you got a big problem. We got to figure this out. Two, you're not deportable, but perhaps it's bad moral character. You may not be eligible for citizenship. Or three, you got no problems, full steam ahead. We don't know. I don't know.
The good moral character part, because I was doing a little bit of research for myself, and all of these charges been over 8 years.
Great. So as long as you're not a deportable alien, then I would say you got good moral character. But let's make sure you have no criminal convictions. You have 3 arrests and they were dismissed. Dating violence, by the way, if you were found guilty of dating violence, that would be considered domestic violence. That makes you deportable.
Yeah, because I look at it. Because when I look at it under the Florida statute law, they didn't really say dating violence. They say aggravated assault. That's what come up underneath dating violence.
All right. So you need a consultation more than anything else. Hold on one second. Let's go to Henry in Manhattan. Henry.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I do hear
you. My question is, I'm an American citizen, and my wife is from Jamaica. My sister-in-law in Jamaica is willing to give up rights to her child. And we want to adopt that child. But when we looked at the information
How old's the
on
child?
I believe it's like 10.
All right. Where's the father of this child?
That's the other thing. The father is not active in his life. But he's willing to, we contacted him. He's willing to give up his rights as well.
Okay, now, Henry, let me explain something to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The smartest thing in the world you just did was call the show. Because it sounds like you're going on a process in Jamaica to go into a court in Jamaica and get consent from a mother and father to do an adoption. And if you did that, this kid would never come to America ever. You would have destroyed your hopes of bringing this child to America and having this child be yours and giving this child a good life. Because you can only bring orphans to America. You can't bring children that you adopted in another country unless you can prove that you lived in the same household with them and had legal guardianship of them for 2 years prior to the 16th birthday. So unless you lived in the same house...
My wife and I researched that and we saw that.
So good. So I'm glad you stopped. So let me tell you. So let me tell you what you need to do. Okay? You need to contact the Jamaican Child Adoption Board, and simultaneously you need to do what's called the pre-adoption. Here, you live in Manhattan, in New York County. The Jamaican Adoption Board, you're going to request them to not have consent by the mother or father to do an adoption, but in essence strip the parents of their parental rights, because the dad's, is a no good dad, and the mom can't obviously, or hopefully, or at least for the adoption purposes, can't afford to raise this child. So we want the government, the Jamaican government, to come in and say, you're lousy parents, you're stripped of your parental rights. Now the child's an orphan, because otherwise the child's not an orphan. And then,
if they give up their rights voluntarily,
while you're doing that, simultaneously, you're going into Supreme Court here in New York, and you're saying to a judge in New York, but I'm going to bring a child up from Jamaica to do an adoption here in New York. And what I'd like you to do is sign a piece of paper, an order saying that you're satisfied after social worker evaluations and background checks and blah, 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 that you would sign an adoption decree if I brought this child into America. And you get that pre-adoption done in New York while you're simultaneously stripping parents of their parental rights in Jamaica. And then you can file an orphan petition for this child to come up with a green card and do an adoption here. It is a big endeavor to do. I know you want to say your piece. It is a big endeavor.
What I was saying was
you need lawyers.
concerned.
You need lawyers. You need lawyers to do it for you.
All right. And how long does this process normally would take? How long do you think it would take?
A year or less.
Really?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Kelly in Hyattsville, Maryland. Kelly.
Hello, Brad. Good evening.
Good evening, Kelly. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
What's going on?
Yeah, good. My cousin have a problem with the wife. My cousin came here as a student with F1 status, but after 3 months, he dropped from school because he couldn't continue the tuition fee.
Who is this? Your wife's cousin?
No, my cousin.
Just your cousin, okay.
Yeah.
And where's he from?
So, we're from Nigeria.
All right. So, in essence, your cousin came on a student visa. He stayed 3 months. He says, I can't afford school anymore. Stop going to school. Now what?
No, he can't go to school anymore.
Right. Now what?
So the girlfriend, they know each other from Nigeria before they came over here. So, they decided to settle down. So they got married after he came on January 9. Then they got married on March 8th. So they didn't file until September 2017. The wife filed for him.
One second. He came in January and they got married in March?
Yes.
When they came in January, what day in January did he come? He got married within less than 90 days of coming on a student visa?
Yes.
All right, so they're going to say misrepresentation.
So, but he didn't file until...
It's still misrepresentation because he never went to school.
Yeah, but he went to school, but he went like 2 months or something. Then
okay, so this is... You're telling me. Okay? You're telling me. This is the story that you want to tell the government, and you expect the government to believe. I'm on your side, by the way. But this is the story that you want the government to believe.
Break it down.
Let's break it down. I'm coming to school from Nigeria. I want to study, and when I'm done with my studies, I'm going to go home. Within 2 months of coming for my studies, I decide I'm not going to school anymore. 2 weeks later, I marry my girlfriend, who I knew from Nigeria. And by the way, I had none of this was planned when I came here. They are going, if this magic 8-ball was the bullshit buzzer that I've asked for 2 years, I would be hitting bullshit if I was the U.S. government. There's no bullshit buzzer. We only have a magic 8-ball. So they're going to say misrepresentation, and you need a waiver. That's what's going to happen.
So, but they went for interview. The I-130 was approved.
Of course, because they believe it's a real marriage, but they would deny the adjustment because of misrepresentation. Or that's what's going to likely happen. And if they don't, good for you or good for them, lucky them. But I'm giving you my opinion. And then they need a waiver.
So somebody in this situation, because like I told you, the wife, both of them have a problem. Both of them started having problem because of the mother-in-law, who doesn't support the marriage because the guy has no papers.
So, well, the guy has papers now because he has a work permit. But now he's got a bigger problem because if the wife's mother is breaking them up, he's going to be put at deportation, and he made misrepresentations. He's got all sorts of problems. So he's got to bring flowers home to his wife and say, hey, baby, I'm important too here.
Okay, so I have a quick question.
Yes.
I had got my green card in April 2013.
Yes.
And this past August, I was charged with a DUI. I haven't been convicted yet. I still haven't gotten a court date.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, what are the odds if I am convicted and I apply for citizenship, if I would get it? This is the only thing I have American. I don't have anything else.
Well, first of all, your first concern is you got to make sure you're not, whether before you become a citizen, you got to make sure you're not pleading guilty to a deportable offense. Because if you plead guilty to a deportable offense, then you got another ball of wax going on here. Assuming it's a straight DUI, the Trump administration has said DUI, although not deportable, indicates bad moral character. So from assuming you're not a deportable alien, but the DUI, you are pleading guilty to a DUI, which is different than a DWI, that would show bad moral character. You would have to wait till the completion of whatever sentence you have. You're married to a U.S. citizen, 3 years of a bona fide marriage beyond that with good moral character before you file for your citizenship.
Okay. Whew.
What I would suggest to Ashley,
it's still going on in court.
Ashley,
I haven't gotten the court date yet.
Okay, Ashley, this is my advice to you. Obviously, you fight it out to the best of your ability, like anybody else. Everyone has a right to fight it out. If it comes to a point where your attorney says, or the judge says to you, you're going to plead guilty to X, Y, Z, what you are going to do is you're going to put your hand up and say, Judge, or Mr. Attorney, or Mrs. Attorney, or Ms. Attorney, I need to speak to an immigration attorney before I do anything. I got to make sure what my consequences are. And then at that point, when you get your best deal, you see what your immigration consequences are, and then you figure it out from there. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.